Good morning, everyone, and welcome to 2026. My name is Lolita. I'm one of the volunteers for the Craft Guild, and today we're going to go over the 2026 applications, starting with our membership application. There's been a lot of changes going into this year due to price increase for the pavilion, so we had to modify quite a bit of different things. One of the first things that we did change was our membership types. We have officially 4 different membership types, and I'm going to go over each one of those, what they all entail, and how to fill out that application, and then we'll move on to the booth application and so on, including the food truck, nonprofits, and all the new information. So stick with me. There will be jump points, so if you're only interested in a portion of it, you can jump through this video and get to where you need to be. So let's go ahead and get started with the membership application. So this is the membership application, and first it goes off of who we are, the membership dues and what they support, and then we go into the membership levels. This is where it is important. We now have 4 different membership levels. We actually have a 5th, which is honorary member, but you're only awarded this if you've dedicated over 10 years to the guild as an officer or a board member or working on the board sort of thing. So mainly it's these 4. So a crafting member, it's $10 a year, and it is for those who love to learn and teach crafts. If you want to take the classes that we're going to be offering this year, you would sign up for a crafting membership. You get first notice and a spot for upcoming classes. Classes may be free or discounted depending on the material cost. The funds directly support the crafting hangouts, the classes, including instructor fees. Most of us are going to be vendor members. Vendor members are those who make handmade items and sell them at the guild markets. We have 3 markets this year as usual: July 11th, September 19th, and December is a 2-day market, which is the 5th through the 6th. The vendor member is $20 this year. We do allow up to 5 commercial vendors into our markets as members, and they are vetted, meaning they cannot sell anything that a handmade vendor would sell, such as jewelry. We do not allow any commercial mass-produced jewelry. We don't do anything like Scentsy or anything like that anymore, because we have candle makers who do the warming wax melts and stuff like that. So as long as it doesn't conflict with handmade, we allow some commercial vendors in. All vendors have to have a Texas sales and use tax permit unless you're exempt, and the only exemption is if you are making and selling food, as in whole food, not concessions where you're making a plate and giving it to somebody. You will be required to fill out the market booth application, which is this one right here, and I'll go over next, and pay the fees for the markets that you are attending. Markets are juried and category limited, so we're not going to bring in 10 different crocheters if they're making roughly the same thing. If we already have somebody crocheting, say, animals and stuff, we're more than likely not going to bring in another one, because it just floods the market. So just because you may be a crocheter doesn't mean we have other crocheters and you're not going to get in. It all depends on what you make. So when you get to your what do I make, be specific. Like, if you crochet, what do you crochet? If you work with wood, what do you make? If you sew, what do you make? Now, as far as juried, we're doing a jury this year, mostly to weed out drop shippers and commercial made goods that is being re-tagged as handmade. We're trying to eliminate that. We've had a couple issues in the past, and we don't want that anymore. So when you send pictures for your juried, we'd like to see your booth set up, and we'd also like to see close-up of some of the items that you are making. Okay, like I said, up to 5 commercial vendors are allowed. So the big one now is the business member. This is $25 a year. This is specifically for handmade businesses who sell online. So if you have a website dedicated to your business, or if you use social media dedicated to your business, it's not, I have a Facebook page and I share pictures of myself, my family, my pets, and everything else, and occasionally I'll show things of handmade. That's not a dedicated social media for your business. Like for me, I have my personal page. I have a page, Creations by Lolita, which is my business one. And I also help manage the Guild's group page. So I have a dedicated one, and I also have a website. So if I wanted to, I could become a business member, pay the $25, and what do I get is a designated section on the Guild's website for me. And it's showing the stuff that I make. So if a customer comes visits our website, they can see local handmade artists, and they'll be able to go to my online Etsy page, my social media, figure out where I'm going to be, and contact me personally. So it's a great way of getting exposure for your online business. The last one is a supporting member. It's a $10 minimum and up to anything that you would like to donate. It's if you just want to support the Guild, what it does, the markets, the crafting hangouts, that sort of thing. You can donate $10, you can donate 20, whatever you want to do. It just helps support the Guild and everything that we are trying to do. Anything that is supported, we appreciate definitely this year, because it is going to be a hard year to try to make enough funds to pay for everything going forward. All right, so next is the next page. This goes over benefits for the member. So as a member, your benefits in your voting, you get the craft tree, you get updates, the weekly newsletter, meetings, markets, stuff like that. You get to vote in the officer election, which is coming up. It's actually happening right now. I will be emailing out ballots here shortly. Let's see. The terms, it's a 1 year, so it basically runs from March 1st to the end of February. Yes, you can sign up now, and it still counts, and then you're a member until the end of February of 28. Or sorry, you're a member until February 28 of next year. Dues are non-refundable. Memberships offer priority access to classes and booth, but are not guaranteed placements. You still have to fill out your application for your booth and stuff like that, and once you paid, you are locked in. Expectations, basically you should register for the events in a timely manner. Volunteering is optional and appreciated. Help with classes, setup, and committees such as advertising, recruitment, and marketing. We have restructured, and I will have all that out here shortly. I've sent out a general plan so far via email, and you can see how we have committees and they're broken down and stuff like that. Member contact information. This is a privacy and data use. We are not going to sell your information. It is locked into our Google Workspace, and only officers have access to that information. Bylaws are available upon request via email or on our website. I have to update our new ones, so I will have that done here shortly. And then how to contact us. This is the biggest thing. Email is the best way to contact. One, it leaves a paper trail. But two, we all have other jobs that we do. We're not dedicated to this, 24/7. We do what we need to do throughout the week and throughout the month. So we may not be there to answer a phone immediately, kind of thing. So email us when we get a chance. We'll jump on the email. We'll email you back and everything like that. This is a phone number. It is text preference. Again, we're not going to be answering the phone because we are more than likely working or dealing with private stuff, personal stuff. So you can leave a text message and we'll text you back. This is our address for mail only. This is just a box. at the shipping point. That's it. So if you want to mail this in, or if you want to mail us something, this is the way to do it. Do not show up there physically looking for us. We're not going to be there. If you follow us on Facebook, it's at San Angelo Crafts Guild. You can see where we are going to be meeting in person, because we do the crafting hangouts, and we are setting up a handful of member hangouts sort of meetings. And it's going to be in a private room up at the library. It'll hold like 50 of us and stuff like that. So if you need to turn something in, need to talk to us or whatever, we'll be up there. There'll be a couple of them during the year. But the crafting hangouts are almost every single month. That is also a great way to come up and talk to the officers, talk to the other board members and stuff like that. So this page 1 and 2, you keep. So let's go ahead and get onto the application. It's pretty cut and dry. So first part, name. If you have a business partner, so if you're in partnership with somebody else and you share the Texas Sales and Use Tax Permit as a partner, you write down, the name of who we're going to be contacting and the business partner name. Okay, so if you are the person who deals with the contact, your name will go here. Email and phone number to contact this person, and the address. Here you're going to mark which memberships you are going to do. You can mark as many as you want or as few. So if this is mine, I'm definitely a vendor member because I will be selling at the markets, and I am also a business member. And if I want to, I'm going to donate, some amount, so I can mark it here and write in how much I'm going to donate. So say I'm going to donate, and I'm just going to go ahead and donate $10 to help out. Okay. Then you total up your membership. So that's $55. And then you mark how are you going to pay. I'm going to go ahead and pay cash. Okay. If you want an email invoice, you just mark emailed invoice, mail this back to us, or email this back to us, and we will create an invoice that you can pay online. If you want to mail it in with a check, you mark check. On the back here, again, is the address that you're going to mail it to, and you just send it to there. If you want to bring it into one of the crafting hangouts or the next meeting, bring this with you with your payment type. Okay, section 2, Texas Sales and Use Tax. So this is for vendor members and business members only. You have to have a Texas Sales and Use Tax permit. That is state law. If you sell anything in Texas, you have to have this permit. You have to collect sales tax from your customer. You hold on to that amount, and then you give it to the comptroller. It's not your money. I get that all the time. It's not your money. It's your customer's money for buying goods in Texas. So it is free. It is absolutely free to you as long as you don't get a late fee. So write down your number. If you don't have one, there is a link here, or you go to Comptroller's Texas Comptroller and file it online to get that permit. It takes about 2 weeks. So write down your number. It's 11 digits. It is not your LLC number. It is not your EIN number. It is definitely not your Social Security number. Okay? 11 digit from the Comptroller, Texas Sales and Use Tax Permit. Next section, food vendors only. If you are selling food in any form or fashion, you have to be compliant with cottage law, or you have to have a food manufacturer's permit. And that's a whole other story. So are you selling food? No. If you're not, skip the rest of this. Do not mark it. If you are, you hit write yes, and you make sure you are compliant. So if you're making brownies, you need to have, and you're going underneath cottage law, you need to have all this done. So your products are limited to those allowed under cottage law. Not everything is permitted. Dairy products are not permitted. So look up the list and pay attention to it. All items properly packaged and labeled with the mandatory disclosure, and it's in bold. This product was produced in a private residence that is not subject to governmental licensing or inspection. You have to have this on your items. Your label includes your business name and address and a list of major allergens. Does it have nuts in it? Flour, there's a whole list of them. Go on there and find out and label your stuff properly. If you are selling refrigerated items, you must be registered as a DSHS. So if your items have to be kept at a certain temperature, you don't really follow. You need to contact health services basically and make sure that you are doing what you need to be doing. Okay, so the biggest one with this is you must also provide a copy of your current Texas food handler's card. Yes, you have to have this food handler's license, card, permit, whatever you want to call it, under cottage law. It's $10. It's good for 2 years. It'll take you an hour to take the test. Get it. Without this compliancy, you are not permitted to sell food at our markets because the guild cannot be held liable for allowing you to sell. Same with the sales and use tax permit. If we have vendors selling without this permit, the guild is liable. Okay, on to the next portion. Business name. So if you are doing business as, like I am Creations by Lolita, you write that in there. What are you selling? Again, be specific. We want to know, okay, I crochet. What do you crochet? Are you crocheting animals? Are you doing hats, blankets, whatever? You don't have to list every single thing, but the most common things that you are making. Do you do tumblers? Well, do you do tumblers and t-shirts, or are you just making tumblers, that sort of thing? Are these items made by you? Mark 1. Everything that you sell is made by me means all. Most of it, about 80% of it, is made by me, but I might have some commercial made stuff, like I make wax melts and I commercially buy the warmers to go with them. Then that would be most. If you're a commercial vendor and none of them are made by you, you mark this over here. Okay, section 5, if you are a vendor member or a business member, you need to read the designated ones and initial it that you understand. I'm not going to go over these specifics. You guys can read these and initial that you understand and you are compliant. By signing, I attest that I filled this out. Filled out the application truthfully and completely. So read your statement, sign, date, and you return it by one of those means. That is the application for membership. Anyone associated with the guild has to fill out the membership application. So we are no longer bringing in non-members to be vendors or anything like that. Everybody has to sign up because we need to free up the non-member income for the guild for our sponsorships that we're going to hope to get this year. As a 501c7, we have a 65-35 split, meaning 65% of our income has to come from membership income. That is the booth fees, the membership income, and all of that stuff. That is why we opened up a lot of different membership types. That allows us to bring in sponsorship money to help with the cost of the pavilion and the advertisement that we want to do. That all comes in as non-member income, which can only be up to 35% of our total income. Okay, for those of you who have suggested, charging at the door, there's 3 complications with that. 1, our customers base, we've never charged. If we start charging, we're going to lose a lot of our customers. Okay, that's not an option. 2, that becomes actual income for the guild, and that is limited to 15% of that 35% which means we would charge for one market at the door and we would be maxing that out. Beyond that, we have to pay income tax on that money. It's not feasible. And the last part of it is there are 6 doors that lead into this building. We would have to have at least 8 volunteers to man all 6 of those doors. And we're having a hard time with volunteers just to run the guild. So I don't see us getting 8 volunteers to stand at the door all day to take money and stamp people's hands. So we will never charge at the door. So as far as the crafting member, this is it. All you have to do is fill this out. You'll get put into our database, and when we have our classes come out, you'll be sent an email with the class information. If you're going to be a vendor member, you need to fill out this application. So let's go ahead and start on this one. So a lot of the first 2 pages is the same as what it was previous years. If you are new to it, read through this. So first off, again, you have to have the Texas sales and use tax. If you are a food vendor under college law, you have to have your food handler's card. This is the market location. This is our contact information. The market is the Stock Show and Rodeo Grounds. It's one of their buildings. We rent that building from them. All right, so next up, market dates for this year: July 11th, September 19th, December 5th through the 6th. And this is your setup information. Okay, setup is on Friday from 12 until 7 p.m. You check in at the main booth for your booth number. We do not show or give out pre-booth information or booth numbers before setup, just in case we get up in there and we have to shift people around. Okay, it's very complicated, and we get angry people if we say, hey, you're going to be in this spot, and they show up and they're like, what happened? We don't want to go through that. So you show up, you get your booth number, and then you go set up. Saturday, setup continues from 7:30, no longer 7 a.m. It is 7:30 to 9 a.m. All vehicles must be parked in the back by 8:30. So the other one that is confusing is you have to be checked in by Saturday by 8 a.m. Meaning if you check in on Friday, that's great, you've already checked in. But if you're setting up on Saturday only and you don't make it by 8 o'clock, your booth is going to be given to somebody else and you've lost your time, because at that point you don't have time to set up. Doors open at 9, they close at 5. Do not pack up early. It makes our customers think that we're closing, and it kills the last hour really bad when they start seeing people pack up. So do not pack up. On December, so Saturday, the doors will close at 5:30 and be locked up. So everybody needs to be out of the building. We reopen the doors at 8:30 a.m. for anybody who needs to fix things or whatever. The market is from 10 until 4, and you can pack up at 4 p.m. So read this. This goes over the pavilion and what is provided by the Stock Show and Rodeo. The guild will be providing water and coffee. We will no longer be buying food. Like I said, we've had to cut some expenses, and that is one of them. So if you want to contribute individually wrapped snacks, donuts, or whatever, by all means, go ahead. We're going to go ahead and treat it kind of like a potluck. But if you do help donate stuff, please help clean up afterwards, that sort of thing. But the guild will be providing water and coffee. So we encourage bring your own snacks, bring your own lunches if you want to. It's not guaranteed we're going to have a food truck. We try. So as far as I know, we will have the 2 food trucks from last year. So here's hoping. This goes over the door prize and how that works. The only thing I'm going to say about this is it needs to be a physical item or a physical item with the option of a discount. No online purchases. It needs to be done right then and there. If you want people to shop on your website, just have a QR code for your website, that sort of thing. The item stays with you. You'll be given a slip in your yellow envelope on Saturday morning. You fill out that slip, return that slip to the main booth. This is not for your spouse, your partners. It is not for vendors. It is not for your helpers. It is not for your children to participate in this. Okay, this is for our customers. Customers get the tickets. Their ticket gets drawn. They draw the little slip that says where to go. They come and see you and collect the items. Your helpers, your children, spouses, people who are there all day with you cannot participate in this. It's not fair. We've had several helpers win, several times throughout the day. It's not fair to our customers. Okay. Booth sizes. So the booth size has changed. Our standard booths are 10 by 12 foot. So you're getting an extra 2 feet. This has also lowered the floor plan. So instead of 113 booths in the main part of the building, we're looking at 84. With the increase in the price, we're pretty much figuring that we will not fill 113. So we are hoping to fill the 84. We also opened up what is a half booth space. These are 12 by 6. These are reserved for nonprofits because the nonprofit gets a free booth. To be able to make the money for this year, we cannot give them a free full-size booth. It's going to hurt our bottom line too much. So we have half spaces now. These are also offered to our commercial vendors who just have a table and maybe a sign. They're not really selling product. They're selling services and that sort of thing. They can get this for a specific price instead of a full-size booth, which allows our other vendors, our handmade vendors, to have the full-size booths instead. So the applications are due 1 month before the market. At that 1 month mark, if there are half booth available, I will offer them to our handmade vendors. But until then, again, they are going to be reserved for nonprofits and for commercial vendors. There's only 10 of these. So when it comes to your application, you're not going to have the option to fill it out to get one. All right. Next up, cattle panels. It's the same. You got to have 2 of them to stand up. If you want to share one with another vendor. So basically it would set up like a T, like that. This one would be shared. You need to get with that vendor, both mark it on your application. You need to get with the guild officer in charge of the applications and the floor plan and let them know. And since they're $10 a piece, that means instead of each one of you paying $20, you're going to pay $15 because you're sharing the $10 on that one. Okay, you still have to pay 10 for this, 10 for this, but it'll be 5 and 5. Okay. Canopies, displays, this includes the hooks and your products, all need to stay within your space. The space is 10 by 12. That means you can put in a canopy that has a footprint, not a canopy top, a footprint of 10 by 10. No larger unless you have a larger space. The change with this one, okay, there's no change with the tables, chairs, and electricity, except for the price of the tables has gone up to $10 a piece and not $7 as what they were. Social media, let's see. This just basically covers that. This is the new cancellation policy. There is no refunds anymore. We cannot afford to get right up to the show and have, 5, 6, 7 vendors cancel. Once you're paid up, this is it, and all fees have to be paid a month before the market. This is going to be a hard year, and we have had to make some hard decisions, so that is one of them. So booth fees are non-refundable. Everyone will get a full refund if the Stock Show and Rodeo cancels our event. If there is a storm and the building is damaged and we have to cancel, you will get a refund. But if you had something that come up, no matter what it is, there are no refunds. Building access and overnight security. Read this, understand it. It tells you, the First Financial Pavilion and Fairgrounds are locked and secured by the Stock Show and Rodeo. Who has access, everything like that. So make sure you read this and understand it. If you have any questions, you can email us specifically. So let's go ahead and go on to the actual application now. So I want to cover one thing. There has been an update to our application. So you do have a new one in your email. Make sure you use it. But in the old one, it does say the electricity is included. It is not included. So do not fill out that application. To know which one it is, you'll see it underneath the tables, chairs, and electricity. This one says it's included. We were trying to swing it. We could not do it financially. So electricity is not included. The old version will also have number 4 as dedicated drops. If you see that on the application, that is the wrong application. Do not use it. Use the updated one. Apparently I need to go back through and fix the numbers. It's been a rough year. I'll just put it that way. All right, so let's go ahead and go on to this. Again, you're not going to see that dedicated drop. Instead, down here, you'll see electricity per market attending. This is the correct application, so you please use the correct one. If you turn in the other one, it will not be accepted. You will have to refill it out. All right, so page 3, be sure to put your name across here. If you are a partnership, put your who the contact is. Okay. So how many spaces you're going to need for July 11th market? So if you need 2 spaces, you do 2 and you multiply 65 times 2, and that's your total. Same with September, and for the December, 65 for that market, 120 for that market. Put down how many spaces you're going to need for each one, and you total that. We are giving a multi-show discount to encourage people to do other markets. If you're going to do one market, you do not get a discount. If you're going to attend 2 markets, then you take the total of those numbers and you multiply it by 0.04. And then you write that there. This is your discount. If you're going to do 3 markets, you multiply the totals of all that by 0.08. And you write that number down. Okay? I've already had to make another correction, which is fine. I mean, new applications, that's what I get. No matter how many times I read through it, I'm making some kind of adjustment. So anyways, when you see box 5, split it in half, put in a 4, total up your lines 1, 2, and 3, add your total there. Okay, so this is total 1 through 3. Okay, you take that total amount, and if you're doing 2 markets, you're going to multiply that by 0.04 and put that into here. Okay, if you're doing 3 markets, you're going to take that total and multiply it by 0.08, and you're going to put that total in there. Okay, 6, you're going to take line 4, subtract line 5, and then that is your total amount due for your space only for those markets. Okay, the multi-show discount is only for the booth space cost. Tables, chairs, and panels, that is a 1-for-1. We are charging what the Stock Show and Rodeo is charging us this year. So if you do need some of those, the numbers are as follows. Tables for July, you write it down. Chairs for July, panels for July. This is September, this is December's. Multiply them over, so if you need 2 tables, it's going to be $20, that sort of thing. Electricity per market attending, it's 5 times however many markets you're attending that you need electricity for. So if you're attending 3 markets and you need electricity for all 3, you need to put a 3 here. 5 times 3 equals 15. If you're attending 3, but you're only going to need electricity for December, then you're going to put it here, and it's going to be 5 times 1 equals, $5, and just right next to it, December only, okay? You're going to add up lines 7 through 16. That's going to be your total there. And then line 6 plus 17 is going to be your grand total for the entire year. Okay, so now, do you have to pay that all at once? No. The other thing that we are doing is a payment schedule if you need to. You can pay it all at once. Please send in your application before you send in your payment so we can check it. That sort of thing, to make sure everything is correct. Mark one box only. So if you're going to pay total in full, you're going to mark this box and you're going to skip down to section 3. If you would like to do a payment schedule, you're going to mark this box and you're going to talk to one of us and go over a payment schedule. Okay, so the biggest thing with this is all your fees for July market have to be paid before the July market. And same with September and same with December. So if you want, say you're putting it in March, you can split it up all the way through October if you're doing all 3 markets, kind of thing, as long as that first criteria is met. Okay, if you're signing up in June, you're going to have to pay for your membership. You're going to have to pay for all of July, and you're going to have to start paying for September, kind of thing. All right, so again, sit down with us and we'll sit down and we'll make a payment schedule with you that will help you. These are the due dates for those payments. So if you're doing invoice, we will set up invoices that will get emailed to you once a month for those payments. If you're going to pay by check, we will make payment slips that you can mail with your check or turn in with your check, okay? So read this, sign, and date, and then continue on to section 3. Section 3 is a general liability clause. Read it, each one, and initial that you understand it. Goes all the way through, and then you sign and date saying that you have read and agreed to the liability and safety terms above. Okay, this does cover having your own personal business insurance. It was a question by one of the other officers or one of the other board members that asking about it, what it is, and it's as simple as this. A lot of big venues, they require the business insurance for liability reasons. We are not going to require it. We are going to encourage you have it. Business insurance basically covers if something that you do, a product that you make, or one of your displays, if it causes harm to the building, if it causes harm to another person, your business insurance covers that. If there's a total loss of the building, your business insurance, if you have the correct policy, would cover the loss of your business stuff. If you don't have business insurance and say something happens to the building and it's a total loss, you're not going to get any money for the loss of your products. The insurance that the guild carries covers damage to the building from the event. It does not cover individual vendors. So you might want to look into business insurance. The reason why we are adding this in is because things with the stock show and rodeo and the rental and everything like that has been changed a little bit, and we want to make sure that everything is understood, what is involved, what is covered, what our liabilities are, what your liabilities are, so you are aware of that. Okay, so read through that, sign and date. If you do not agree with it, do not fill out an application because you will not be a vendor. On to the second portion of it. This covers the cottage law in further detail. Again, read through it, initial that you are compliant, sign and date. This cottage law is only if you are going to be selling food items. If you are not selling food, do not fill out Section 4. Okay? Section 5 is your business information. So main contact, phone, the city that you're coming from. The reason why we want that is we'd like to know, how far out we're spreading. Business partner name, if applicable. Your permit number, Texas Sales permit number. Make sure you send in a food handler certificate with your application if you are selling food. Business name, email, what you're selling. Do you make these items? Any special request. That would be near the restrooms because of limited mobility, stuff like that. If you want to be near another vendor because you help, cover each other's booths, then you write next to so-and-so, and that person needs to write next to and put your name, okay? If you do not put each other's names, we're not going to accommodate. So we will try to accommodate all requests, but it is not guaranteed. If you're like, oh, I want on a corner, we're not going to even recognize that. If you end up on a corner, congrats, you ended up on a corner. If you want on the wall, you have to pay for electricity, but it's not guaranteed that you're going to end up on the wall. There's limited corners, limited walls, and so on. Okay. The special request is basically accommodation for placement due to limited mobility or other medical issues, or being next to somebody because, you help out each other, whatever. Read, sign, and date, and send it back to us in one of those forms. So on every page at the top says vendor name. Make sure you put your vendor name. You will return all the pages except for page 1 and 2. Yeah, you'll keep page 1 and 2 for yourself. You'll return pages 3 through 7 to us in whatever form is easiest on you. Okay? So there is that. If you do have questions, please come meet with us in person. We'll go over it with you. We'll help you fill it out. You can also email us and we will get back to you. We do not check the email every single day. Like I said, we all have actual jobs. This is volunteer and we do need help. So if you can volunteer a few hours, please consider doing so. All right, so those are the 3 applications for vendors. Next up, I'm going to go over the commercial application. All right, so this is the commercial half booth space. So if you are a commercial vendor who only needs a small space for like a display, a table, just to showcase your services and stuff, this is the application that you want to get. So you are still required to fill out a membership application. Everything else in here is the same except when it comes to the booth size. If you do want a large standard space, a 10 by 12, you need to fill out the vendor booth application that I just went over. This explains the half space that is very limited, so unless you are pre-approved, you may not be getting a space at all. Everything else through here is the same as what I just covered. The biggest thing is they're non-refundable. The booth fees are non-refundable. So when it comes over to here, put your name up here. As far as the vendor name, I know some go underneath the company. Put the company name, and if you know the name of the rep who is going to be attending, put their name as well, okay? So, how many half spaces do you need? You can get up to 2, that is it, because there's only 2 next to each other. But at that, it is actually cheaper to just get a full-blown booth. The spaces are $40 for July and September, and December is $70, okay? Same thing that goes, put down a quantity, total everything up. If you're attending 2 or more markets, you get the discount. So 2 markets, if you're attending 2 markets, you take that total, you multiply it by 0.04, and you put that total here. If you are attending 3 markets, you multiply that total by 0.08, you put it here. You take this line minus this line, and that is your total due. That is for the multi-show discount. As before, okay, so if you are going to need tables, chairs, or the cattle panels, you'll fill out this portion here. If you need electricity, it is 5 times the number of markets you need electricity for. Put that total there. Total of lines 7 through 16. And then here you add lines 6 and 17. So your total from here and your total from here equals your grand total for the year. Okay. Then you move on to this portion here where if you're going to pay in full, go ahead and mark this. If you would like to spread the payments out, mark this and you get with us and we will set up a payment schedule with you. So be sure to read this and understand what the payment schedule is all about. Sign and date. This is a general liability clause. Read through this. Initial each one that you understand. Sign it and date it. If you are selling food as a commercial vendor, again, read, initial each one that you understand and you are compliant, sign and date. And then here, fill out the information. So main contact, meaning are we contacting you or are we going to be contacting your representative? We need to know their name. Phone number. If you are selling things at the market, you are required to have a Texas sales permit. The company should have one. You write it down, add that in. If you fill out, like some of our commercial vendors, they will fill out the order form. They'll add in the tax and everything, and it goes to the company. The company takes and remits the tax. Don't worry about that. Just put non-applicable. So NA. Let's see. Again, if you're selling food, include your certificate, the business name, so what company are you selling? Email for the contact, what are you selling? Do you make these items? Would be no, since you are commercial. Special request, this would be something like you have a huge display that you need to bring in, and like a really heavy one or something, and you would like to be closer to one of the doors, making it easier, or near a ramp door. Write it down, please. Read, initial, sign, and date, and you will email or mail in everything except for page 1. Page 1 needs to go to your representative. This is the information that they need to have. So please send this to them. Page 3 through 7 needs to come back to us so we can get you on the list and take care of your payment and everything. That is the commercial one. Now we'll cover nonprofit. Okay, so this is the nonprofit application. This one is specifically for July and September. There is one for December by itself. So depending on which market you're doing, make sure you're filling out the correct one. I'm just going to go over July and September because there's only, small difference between this one and the December only one. So the top part of it is information. All nonprofits must show a proof of status, either a federal or state document stating a 501c status or tax exempt status. If you do not have this, please email us and explain your situation and the organization's mission. So just because you don't have it doesn't mean you can't get a booth. If you are a, say, crafting group or something like that and you want to promote your crafting group itself, then yes, we can accommodate giving you a free space to do so, as long as you're not selling things. If you do want to sell things as a group, then you need to there's a lot of stuff that you need to do. Just reach out and we'll go over it all with you. You cannot sell things as a group without a Texas sales and use tax permit, and it has to be for your group, so it's very complicated. But if you want to promote your crafting group, by all means fill it out, even though you don't have a 501. If you guys are going to be selling food under the cottage law to raise money, you need to have food handler cards for each person making and serving food. This is the location, contact information here, setup information, the pavilion information, door prizes, how they work, booth sizes, have space available for nonprofits for free. If you are going to need a standard space, you are going to have to pay full value for it. But the half ones are free up to a max of 1. Okay. Page 2 goes over the rest of it. So cattle panels, canopies, and display. Keep everything within your booth space. Do not go outside of it. Tables, chairs, and electricity. The information on those. Social media, how to share it and everything. Cancellation policy. Any fees are non-refundable. And access to building and overnight security. Explanation of that and liability. This remains with you guys, so keep page 1 and 2 with you. Everything else, fill out and send back. So for this application, if you are going to attend July, mark July. If you're going to attend September, mark September. If you're going to attend both of them, print this twice, fill it out twice. We need one separate application per market. Okay, mark which one this application is for. Put in main contact name and phone number, email, nonprofit status. Are you a 501c7? Are you a C3? I mean, there's 1 through I don't know how many C's. If you are not, just put not applicable, the nonprofit name or your, like I said, crafting group name or whatever, and your mission. Okay, why this is important. So if you are a crafting group, say wood turners or quilters or something like that, what is your mission? Why do you guys gather? Are you there to promote, to teach, to help each other out, that sort of thing? When it comes down to who we pick, the mission is the most important part of it. The address, basically, where do you guys meet? That sort of thing. Are you selling anything? If so, what are you selling? Are these items made by your group? Okay, so the biggest thing with this is if you are going to make and sell handmade goods, you have to price them fairly, like market value. All right, you cannot make a quilt and sell it for $20 when it costs at least $35 or more in materials just to make that said quilt. Okay, so fair market value. So how do you know that? You ask other people who are making quilts or crocheting items. What are they selling it for, in the market, our local market here? If you are making handmade items and you are going to sell those items, then not only do you have to price it fairly, but you may not get in depending on, say if you do quilts, how many quilters do we already have there? If there's too many quilters already, we're not going to bring in another vendor selling quilts. So basically at that point, you become a vendor and not a true nonprofit. Are you exempt from collecting sales tax from your customers? Not all nonprofits are exempt. If you are exempt, then please provide information showing from the comptrollers that you are exempt. If you are not exempt, then you need to put in your Texas sales and use tax permit. Special request would be, what do you need to display your items? What do you need, such as, mobility issues that might be with some of your participants. or maybe you need to be next to a vendor because that vendor is also part of your crafting group and you would like to be next to each other, you know, that sort of thing. Okay, so down here, half space, you only get one. It is free. So if you do want the half space, just put 0 here, okay? If you want a larger space, the 10 by 12, it is $65. You put how many you want and you put the total here. You cannot combine the two. So you cannot get a full space and a half space as well. So it's one or the other. If you need tables, chairs, cattle panels, or electricity, fill that out. And then you total it up down here and you send it in depending on your payment type of choice. Sign and date. Okay. And then flip it over because you need to fill this out. This is the general liability clause. Read through it, initial that you understand each one. And you agree to it, sign and date. If you are selling food under cottage law, then you need to read through this. Make sure you're compliant, initial each one, sign and date. And then that is it for the nonprofit. And there you have it. That is all the applications. If you were a vendor last year or you signed up as a non-member last year or you asked to be on the vendor list this year, I've already emailed several versions of this application out. I do apologize. With all the changes and everything happening, my mind is a little going in multiple directions, so I didn't catch all of the issues that came up. While I was filming this, I seen a few of them, caught a few, quite a bit. So you've been emailed a few different versions. There are your most recent versions out there now. So I'm going to go over that briefly. So as far as like a nonprofit, there's been an update to both of the applications and another update to the December one. It covers the electricity on both of them, but the December one, there was also a price issue for the full booth. So that has been corrected and you have been emailed the new application. If you do turn in one of the old versions or the incorrect ones, it will be denied and you will be sent the new one to fill out. So make sure that you are using the most updated one. If you don't know which one it is, just ask for it again. I will gladly email it back to you. Okay, as far as the commercial ones, there has been same with that one, updated with the electricity and also with just filling out, portions of it and everything like that, and a few other minor things. So again, make sure you are using the updated one, and if you don't fill out the updated one, then I will send you the correct one to fill out, and the other one will be denied. So if you are looking through your emails, just search for the Greater San Angelo Crafts Guild and use the last one that I just emailed out as your updated version. Okay. If you don't understand which one it is, again, just ask for another one. I'll send it out. Same with the standard handmade vendor application. There's been updates to it, like 3 of them already this morning that I've caught while making this video. So make sure to use the updated version. Again, that is like the electricity. That was the biggest one, and then just a few other little minor things. So, and a major one, because apparently I just completely deleted the section that said what dates our markets are going to be on. So yeah, like I said, this year is there's a lot going on this year. There's a lot of changes. So there's been a few missed things, and I do apologize, and I thank you for being patient with us while we get our bearings for this year, so going forward. So there you have it. Welcome to 2026. We are going to try our hardest to make this a good year. If you are a returning vendor and you cannot make the markets, or you're not going to attend this year, I've asked everybody to email us. Just let us know. We do need a head count sooner rather than later. We are worried about not having enough funding for this year. That's why, again, we have made everything. You need to be a member of the guild to be in the markets or to do anything else. You have to be a member so we can free up that non-member income for sponsorships, and we're going to be working towards sponsorships as well. There is a few little nuances when it comes to that, but we are asking for volunteers if you would like to help us to get partnerships, to get sponsorships, to help with, social media, stuff like that. Please consider volunteering. It only takes a few hours a week or a month to do some of these things that need to be done. We are all volunteers. I am a volunteer. I don't make money off of this, so please understand that. It takes a lot of time. As of right now, we're putting in a lot of hours, so if we can get a few volunteers to help out in a few areas, it helps out a great deal. So if you are interested in volunteering, please email us and let us know. We'll set you up with the next date that we're going to be meeting, which is at the end of the month, and you can come sign up for a committee and volunteer your time. If you know somebody who would like to volunteer and they don't do crafting, we have spots for that as well. We are looking for people to help manage the main booth while we're, during the markets. So that way our volunteers who are also vendors can concentrate more on their booths and not on the main booth and potentially lose sales. So that would be a great deal. As a volunteer, you're getting volunteer hours and everything, you're getting the experience. But if you need a letter of recommendation for the work that you did, we would be more than happy to fill that out as well. Being a nonprofit, a 501c7, those letters actually do hold some worth. So again, send us an email, let us know. It's a great opportunity. So again, if you have any questions, email us and everything. But that is all I have as far as the applications. I hope I covered everything and explained how to fill it out. Come meet us at the Hangout. Follow us on Facebook so you know when the Hangouts are going to happen. We'll sit down with you. We'll be more than happy to go over everything with you one-on-one and in person. So our next, if you're viewing this beforehand, our next Hangout is February 28th, which is a Saturday. So until then, I hope to see you in person. I hope to see you at the markets. And I hope you have a great year.